So now we're going to anneal our ring in order to apply our texture. Now, if you're new at annealing, one tip that you can do is you can put Sharpie all over your ring, and then as it fades away, you know that your ring is annealed. But we can also learn to do it just by looking at the color of the metal. Now I'm using a bushy flame, and we're going to point it straight down at the ring, and we're moving it back and forth. We're letting that bushy flame engulf our ring blank. And you will notice as it heats that there will be a rainbow effect following the flame. Not in the flame, but following the flame. You will also notice that the metal itself will begin to turn a pale peachy color. Not the flame, the metal. It will not be a rosy pink, it will not be a hot pink. It will be a pale peachy color. And when you begin to see that, you can know that it is annealed. And there is that pale peachy color. Okay, I'm going to let it cool. Remember, with Argentium, we have to let it cool just a little bit in order so that it will not crack. Now, it is a much harder metal than even sterling, but in order for it to be hard, we have to allow it to cool. The molecular structure is different. It's not an inferior metal, it's just a little bit different in its chemical makeup. Now, you've heard me say this before, but I'm going to tell you again. It's good to remember that if the hot water skitters across it, it's too hot to quench. Now, don't continue to drop water on it thinking you're going to cool it. That's almost as bad as quenching. But eventually, see, it almost sizzled. When you drop a bit of water on it and it sizzles, it's cool enough to quench. Now, if I were to leave this ring blank here on this block and let it cool and not come back and touch it till tomorrow, it would be very hard. It does need to be quenched, and it does in order to keep its annealed state. As I said, it's a much harder metal in the end than sterling. And obviously than fine silver. But it does need to be quenched in order that we can continue to work with it. Let's try one more time. Almost quenched, almost sizzled. There we go. Now I can pick it up and I can quench it. And because we did not use pickle, or use flux, I do not need to pickle it. I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to quench it. Okay, now we're ready to texture.